it's your man B Scarb AKA real name no gimmicks, coming to you live with another Four Corners podcast special edition. We got a great show in store for you today. Today is about a relaunch, a rebrand. For those of you who have been supporters of Four Corners back since 2015, I thank you. Due to the graces of the Lord, we here again. At this point in time, I want to introduce my new co-host. I'll let her get on the mic right quick.
What up, dog? This is P-Dot. Y'all already know. Tap in.
So Future Four Corners Podcast. Future Four Corners Podcast is going to be co-hosted by myself, as well as P-Dot, and we got a couple other co-hosts who we'll introduce throughout the interview that we got coming up for you all today. But if you see one of us, you see all of us. So it's going to be an interchanging role, a lot of different things happening. But our goal is to continue to bring dope content and make sure that we putting on not only for the city of Detroit, but for the culture of hip-hop and rap in general. Today, man, we got some very special guests on the show. These are brothers in arms of mine. I truly value their opinion. I truly love what they do. And at this point in time, I'm allowing them to introduce themselves. Who want to go first?
All right, we just work around the room.
Yo, what up, though? It's Jay
Wow,
Johnson.
nigga.
You know the order, nigga. It's Jay Johnson, one half of Shop Talk Podcast, one half of This Week in Culture, owner of Shop Talk Podcast Studio, and
He ain't say one half of that.
No,
and you know, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. You know.
That's what's up. What's up? Who else we got in the building?
Yo, it's your man Dame Going Wild, one half of Shop Talk Podcast. I guess silent owner in Shop Talk Podcast Studios now. And just you know, man, a lover of hip hop, good music, good content, good culture, and like good people. You know, we here.
It's AJ, one half of the Connected Experience.
Y'all don't do that little trick thing that y'all normally do.
I
I'm
mean,
AJ. I'm S.
Yeah. See how it's go. You feel me?
Thanks, man.
I know I'm getting in on y'all.
Okay, let's run it back. I'm AJ.
I'm
SJ. And we the Connected Experience.
You know, so and we here Four Corner Podcast with Shop Talk, and let's get it.
Y'all still do the shit like, hey, bro, what's the Connected Experience? Like,
Well, we say that for our intro, for
Yeah.
our show. We guest today, though. So we do guestly shit. You feel what I'm saying?
Guestly shit.
So for those of you that know a Four Corners Podcast, you know, I like to get straight to it, man. I don't like to really waste a lot of time because I'm a person that values time, and I value my listeners and supporters' time. But real quick, I just want to give a shout-out to a few people that was along the journey of the early days with Four Corners, namely my ex-partners, K2A, Uncle P, Jigsaw. You know, we started out at Lifeline Nation Studios in 2015. We also shot some episodes with Mix Factory. My original videographers, Cloud Vision Films, New Age Media, C Nice Productions. Recently, 36 Vision, that's who we normally shoot, as well as edit a lot of our footage with, so he will be gracing his hands on the content that we put out today. Shout out past interviewees, Seven the General, DJ Butter, Nick Speed, Big Gov, DJ BJ, Niche and the Shade, Floss a Lot, Stretch Money, and then we recently just dropped the new episode with Drago, kicking off the relaunch of Four Corners, and today's content will follow up with that. And just a host of all of MCs who participated in any ciphers in their showcases. We did the Battle of the Sexes showcase at the famed Bullfrog Bar and Grill before it closed. Definitely missed that monument in the city.
Facts.
But with all that being said, man, basically, for those that are new to Four Corners, the whole concept is about multiple perspectives on all things related to hip-hop and rap culture, not only in the city of Detroit, but and beyond. You know, whether it's an older perspective, a younger perspective, gender perspective between male and female, you know, socioeconomic divide. We try to cover as many areas as possible because the world is three-dimensional. It's not one-dimensional. And so we want to make sure that everybody's being heard and that we're being fair in the opinions that we give forth and the critiques that we give forth about the culture that we all love. And with that being said today, today's episode is going to be a 2020 wrap-up of things that happen here in the city of Detroit and beyond. And so with my guests that I have today, we're going to be covering a range of topics and talking about different things, but it's basically giving our perspective on how we feel about what happened in 2020. And in respect to our fellow peers, you know, that's out there, shout out BJ, shout out Blast, Greg, Lando of the Hip Hop Lab, Joseph McFashion of For Show Magazine, Fake Short Drive, Hood Illustrated, Mid Mayhem Radio, Stu Show, Swag, SoundTube, Oso, Detroit is Different, Metro Times, Chronicle, Worldwide Coalition, Grove, and anybody else that I might have forgot, Jerry PhD, everybody, you know what I'm saying? Because all of these people in their own way, whether they claim to or not, play the role of a journalist on our culture in the city, and equally, they all help to bring light on the city. You know, we was just talking this morning, myself and Dot, about the Say Chise Digital Regional highlight where they got Detroit as the new #1 burgundy market for hip hop and rap in the top 10. And
That's love, but no, that's love. But truthfully, Flint should be #1.
gotcha.
You feel what I'm
Flint
saying?
got some
You think
young-
so?
Yeah, I think so.
Flint got some
Truthfully,
young spitters I like.
I think Flint should be #1 and then Detroit. And that's just being honest because the buzz of new, because remember it's a emerging.
Right.
If the
Emerging
key
markets.
emerging. We already been the market.
But people that's not from here don't understand it like Flint and Detroit. Like we not the same thing. You know
Right.
what I'm
And
saying?
that's why I'm saying.
Well, like we familiar with a lot of niggas over here, but the world wasn't familiar with Sada Baby.
Right.
Like that's a like
But-
when I'm on a
but when I
song with
say
Nicki Minaj.
She on his song. She on the song with him. And that matter in rap. But
Well-
what I'm saying though, emerging, the people we go name, right? So you would say Sada. Sada was building, and the keg just blew, right? But when it came to them guys from Flint,
RMC Mike,
right, some of them people,
YNJ.
like everybody just really got familiar with like this year. And since people not familiar with how big Michigan is, because it's a state and people don't look at it like a state, they think, oh, those guys affiliated with Detroit, they must be closer than an hour away. But when in reality, an hour up the freeway make a difference in the type of music that you make and the type of music that you listen to. You feel what I'm saying? So that's just when the key word is emerging, and I think Flint emerged more because even us being from here, we wasn't talking about those people like we are now.
I get it. On a technical aspect, you may be right as far as it merged, but like on a national perspective, Detroit emerged
banging.
further than Flint.
No,
Detroit
bro,
banging.
because this is the second time this has actually happened that people are mixing Detroit and Flint up. Like people still think Breed is from Detroit, even after he spelled FLINT. Like people don't.
That's different though. What I'm saying is like, so how many artists out of Flint you can say that went national this year?
Well, hold on before we die.
We gotta get to it. You got some niggas who listen to this
I know.
shit. You
Before we
feel
get
me?
into it, but I was just basically saying that to say that all those people that I shouted out contributed to that, and that, you know, what we doing with this episode and even bringing the podcast back, and even for my fellow brothers here and what they do with their podcast, it's an alternative opinion.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of times, no diss to Lando, but people take his opinion as the end-all, be-all when it comes to things in the culture of rap and hip-hop in Michigan, and there's many of us. So I think collectively what we all doing today is representing that balance within the culture here in Michigan and in Detroit in particular, in which I was just talking about with Flint, and just trying to show that other perspective for all the other media outlets that we're speaking for that don't necessarily get the attention that everybody else get.
So two things, right? So Flint had a wonderful year this year. It's a lot of talent out there. But I think when they ranking like what's a market that's emerging, I think that's like a consistent thing. Like, oh, we can look at Detroit over the last 5 years and see, yo, the influence, this number of artists. Like 2-3 years from now, it could 100% be like, yo, Flint is the new market where we think talent is going to come from, because it's a lot of fucking talent. Right. But specifically on the Say Chise thing, I don't think they're just talking about like 1 year. Like if you want to say who had the best year specifically, that's an argument. Right. But like as far as an entire market, I think that take more than 1 year. They look at a consistency, and then they look at.
Let's not jump to conclusions. We don't know what he look at. You feel?
So from my corner,
yeah.
This is what I'm talking about.
I was gonna preface that too. Right. I really think Detroit #1, because he knew if it wasn't somewhere in that top 1, 2, 3, he was really gonna catch it. because we can't lie. Okay, we talking semantics because we from Michigan.
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody in Michigan need to have their own identity, right?
Yeah.
So we talking semantics. But overall, we know can't nobody fuck with Michigan right now.
Facts.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's hands down. But since we from here, so we got to make sure it's a divide.
And then I think like last year they was on his head about some
Yeah,
shit
you
he
see what I'm saying?
said.
So I
One
think
of these-
that's why he put it like that. Because I seen motherfuckers and talk about, well, what about Atlanta? Because niggas ain't reading. The key word there is emerging.
Emerging.
Right? So Atlanta's not emerging. Atlanta runs it.
Established.
You can't be established and emerging.
Reading is
Right.
You
fundamental.
feel what I'm saying? So, and I think our whole thing, we saying is we really talking semantics because we
Yeah.
from here.
Yeah.
And the outside looking in just
Yeah, we are D niggas when they looking at us.
Right.
Regardless,
Yeah.
Flint,
Yeah.
Inkster, like
It's
they
like
We know. Like,
yeah, you know, that's our main thing is that we need the projects to breathe. But with that, though, it was just so much uncertainty that some people just play the numbers game. So if I dropped one every month, I'm in your rotation still. So
Yeah.
hopefully if you listen to this one, you will go back and listen to that one. You will go back and listen
True.
to that one. And I think this was the opportunity to see who really want this shit.
It was
You
a
feel what I'm
temperature
saying?
check, pretty much. Like the COVID, being that a lot of people didn't have established relationships where they can go in and produce all the time or shoot videos all the time. Because a lot of people back. Like a lot of the studios, they closed their doors. A lot of the videographers weren't taking on new clients. So if you was already moving, this was definitely a temperature check to let people know where you stand right now versus where you thought you stood. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people heads be kind of big, like I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. But then when that COVID came and it was like, oh, nobody's moving, nobody's shaking, no shows, no this, no that. Let's see how bad you want it. Let's see if you're going to create these opportunities or you just go sit back. Like majority of the people created our opportunities. They was doing the virtual concerts. They was still doing something, dropping something.
But
But a
can't-
lot of people got quiet and just was like,
You
man,
can't
I
do a
can't.
virtual concert if you don't have like
Fans.
I mean, a lot of people
Yeah.
was doing it with
So let
they
me-
thought they had fans.
So
you
let
know what I
me throw-
mean?
Let me throw this out there, because you all basically are getting that oversaturation and what was happening between the live streams and the content coming out as a result of not being able to perform a tour. How did y'all feel about the versus effect, and not just relative to the platform versus itself, but even on a local level, people trying to mimic and do their version of it? And number two, how do you feel about artists addressing some of the real life complications that came from COVID, like people struggling with mental health,
Yeah.
and also talking about sobriety in their music more?
think-
So how do y'all feel about basically just the versus effect one, and then addressing the physical complications that came from it in terms of people dealing with mental health and sobriety?
So y'all touched on the COVID portion as far as like hustling and all that shit. That's one thing. But the other point was, since the clubs was not open, like you may have had this hot record that would normally went up in the club or in the strip club or whatever. It didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? You didn't get that opportunity to do that. And now, because that may put you in your feelings now. And now that you stuck in quarantine and you got mental health issues or you drinking or doing whatever, like that exacerbates whatever problems that was already there. Like the,
breakdown exacerbates. That's gonna go over niggas' head.
Right.
it stresses the problems that are already there. You know what I mean? So like
Enhances it.
yo, this was like, so if the world shut down March 13th. If you
Right.
just got a record mixed and mastered March
11th.
that Friday,
Like,
and
it's
you-
gonna be the monster.
yeah, you got it off the DJs. Like we about to turn
Right.
up. I paid for. We about to do a show here, and then that weekend, no, all
It's
that
like
shit closed
everything
down.
shut. Yep.
Well, I feel like that you got to be able to adjust. Like, you know what I'm saying? If we the Lakers and LeBron go down, we don't hang our heads down and give up. We got to adjust. So if March 11th you got your record mix and it was supposed to be the biggest shit, March 13th coming, you can't do shit. Where your follow up? Because you don't got to release it.
You
in
don't.
that- you know what I'm saying? And as far as with the mental health or whatever, those are hot words. Those are key, and what I mean by hot words is that's what they pushing on you now. So now you take a nigga who you take a person, female artist, guy artist, whatever. So let's just take the because it's an emergence of hardcore bitches who riding on the ops, who selling pussy, who doing all this. Once one of them gets shot and hurt, that shit gonna stop. So since it couldn't get, they can't get shot and hurt or whatever. That's what's really gonna happen though, because these bitches super tough. They had to sit in the house and they had to look at themselves in the mirror without their lashes on, without their makeup on, without what they say, what they try to sell is them, and it drove them crazy to a sense. They can't live with themselves. So now it's a lot of anger but that's men and women. But I'm just using women from a perspective of, you know, you got to take that shit off. You know what I'm saying? So now
taking the mask off. I feel you.
Yeah.
Well,
So
these
now
niggas gotta take their lashes off too.
Yeah. Right. But now
How you the toughest nigga in the world? Nigga, you in the house with your
Lash
kids and your wife.
extensions.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not a gangster.
Like
Nah.
the people,
You're a father.
I'm a father, but I still shoot you.
Right? Yeah, that's what I told him. Hey, dog, I'm
Our
still with
second,
it.
our third, our fourth, everything.
Right, but
love
people
my wife
had to
to their
live with
heart.
themselves, and people wasn't equipped to
Prepared
live
for
with
that.
themselves. So yeah, you are in the house with your wife and your kids now, and you are a gangster, and you are a father, and you are a rapper, and you realize how much you hate rap your wife and your kids. Everything that makes you you. You're not able to get up when your wife gets you mad and go to the studio or whatever, or you got a studio in the house and the kids fucking everything over. They 8 Xboxes on, they running the Wi-Fi, the connection ain't tight, so it's making you look at yourself. Am I really even a rapper? I'm a better executive. Let's try one of these verses. Because Swiss Beats and Timberland are producers. They ain't produced a track since the shit, but they just showed you we still producers. Let's produce something.
I'll be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of the verses. Like, it took me like some of these later battles to like really feel it. But like when them shits was first happened,
because it wasn't ready. It wasn't the quality of the people.
It's a production now. Like when I look at 40 and Too Short as opposed to like T-Pain and Lil John.
I like it, T-Pain and Lil Jon. I don't want this beautiful production shit. I like when them niggas
like
was
the
on
grit.
Instagram Live
you
and
like the
everybody
grit.
was on that bitch singing songs and commenting in real time. Cause like,
right. I think that they should do both. I think that it shouldn't always be a big production. You might want to see E40 and Too Short together because they be together in real life. Technically, we didn't want to see. We didn't have to see Jeezy and Gucci in the same room.
It came to an influx with the Teddy Riley battle. Like we saw,
but that's what
happens
into a
when
production.
shit goes
That's
wrong.
what made them
That's
do
what
it.
made it into a production. But at the
Right,
same
that's all I'm
time,
about to-
I don't want to see Gucci and Jeezy in the same room because he dissed his homie and all
I
that.
feel-
Because that
I
could lead
wanted
to
to see
that could lead
I
to
wanted to
murder.
see how they
though.
was gonna be around
but
each
I
other.
felt
I
like
was
if
gonna
they
handle
weren't
that.
in the same room, we'd have got a completely different energy.
Yep.
From Jeezy, not from Gucci.
No. We'd have got a completely different energy.
But this,
but that's that energy was probably what we needed. Like we didn't really need this shit because that shit. Luckily, it turned out the way it did, but that shit could have went left, all for our amusement.
And that's what I was
And
gonna say.
that's
More
why people
people wanted
tuned
to
in
see it go
left.
left.
They didn't,
So,
like-
for example, they made it such a big production and people getting ready for verses and all of that to the point where this all started because we were supposed to stay in the house.
Right.
So Keisha Cole and Ashanti should have still been able to make it happen because we supposed to be in the house anyway.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Well, I got a good question because y'all brought up a good point. You like Raw and Uncut to some degree.
Yeah.
You want to see it produced to some degree. Now, we apply that same logic to output of music. We were talking about oversaturation early on with a lot of artists dropping projects. Where do you guys, as journalists to some degree, as critics to another degree, where do you veer on the side of output? Do you feel like the essence of Raw Uncut shows skill because it's raw so you can naturally gauge the artist's talent? Or do you want them to actually put together a polished song and a polished record and present it to you? Like
I prefer polished because we looking for the best product, right? We looking for the product with the most quality, with the product that sound the best. I don't necessarily listen to my music on the devices he listened to. When you just shooting that shit out there, you just shooting it out there because you got it, right? But if you take, what you mean? I ain't even.
I'm saying you said they just shooting it out there because
If
they
they-
got it.
yeah.
I'm saying I've heard a lot of top quality shit just being shot out there too.
Yeah, right. But again, I'm saying if they polishing it, right? Just because I record something tonight don't mean I should put it out tomorrow. If it's not well taken care of and these records being handled right,
let me dig a little deeper. What I'm saying
Because
is,
I got something for that.
from a producer perspective and I'm gonna rephrase this because producer title get kind of shaky depending on who you're talking to. The person that actually makes the beat, from that person's perspective to the artist's perspective, the person that makes the beat may feel like everything that I gave you in that beat, that's all you need. The artist may feel like, I want to make some changes to the beat, I want to add some effects, I want to do some things, or the person that might be producing or arranging with the artist. The artist may get in the booth and rap and say, well, this is what I wrote to that track, this is all I'm going to say, but the person who might be producing or arranging the track might want them to change a line, might want them to switch their verse around. So what I'm asking about Raw and Uncut is that when you get it as the journalist and critic, depending on your ear, you can tell when it's something that was, quote, rushed.
Yeah.
And you can tell when it's something that somebody took time with. So if you was addressing that to that artist or to that person that made that beat, would you tell them spend more time on your shit, or would you tell them put it out as is? That's what I'm asking.
I think it makes sense. It depends on the artist. Because I look at like an artist like, one of my favorite rappers is Currency. I love Spitter.
Okay.
But I look at like the output of his music. Spitter's gonna put out a lot of content. Right. Some of it will stick better than others, but like it's gonna be a lot of content there. But like another artist, say like on the other end of the spectrum that I love is Kendrick. Kendrick is going to give you when you get it, it's a masterpiece. It's been tailored. It's been done correctly. And not to say that like Spitter's music is not, masterful in its own right. But we talking two ends of the spectrum. Like when you get a Kendrick Lamar album every 2 to 3 years, this is a well-crafted masterpiece.
But I would like to hear unpolished work from Kendrick Lamar just for that reason. Like shoot me out a song that I don't got to listen to 5 songs to understand. Shoot me out some shit that you was just fucking around in the studio with, but we know how that go. It really just depends on the song, the quality of it that I want. You know what I'm saying? So, for instance, when they was doing the Jeezy versus Gucci Man battle, all Jeezy shit was top notch sounding, but all Gucci shit, all that underground independent shit, that shit hit you different because, yeah, Mr. Boss Man, we know that you got a gazillion dollars behind you. We know who you run with. Your shit should be sounding like this. Y'all got your foot on my neck trying to stop me. I'm making these records today and I'm putting them bitches out. And by the time you put your one solid out cold production
Gucci got
out, 6 albums out, and niggas singing so many songs, it done overlapped your album. So it just really depends on the artist.
That's good, bad.
So I see sounds good. So I'm not talking about the quality if you think it was a good song or not, but the beat, the production, the mastering, one thing. But to answer your question, like when Lando was in here a few months ago, he was saying, we took the deal, the major deal, and we're not doing that no more. We're gonna go independent because they had certain things. Like we had to upload the file in the WAV file versus the MP3 file, and they got certain standards that like, we just want to put that shit out.
Yeah, but that's basic shit. Lazy though.
Let them get it out. Let them get it out.
Because he said, like, look, I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. And I was like, the file is a larger file. It got more. Like, I don't care about none of that shit. When we put this out, I already know how much money we gonna make off of it, right? So it depends on what's the purpose of the music being put out there. Because if I know this is a legal hustle for me, and I can put a project out that's gonna net me $30,000 in the next 30 days. I may not care if it's the top quality. Right. I'm doing this shit for my niggas who don't care about that shit, and I'm about to make 30 bands off of it. And the business, if it caught, all right. So if I made $100,000 last year and I spent $70,000 to make it, next year I'm gonna spend $60,000 to make that $100,000. In the business, I'm not caring about quality. I'm caring about how much profit I'm gonna make. And so if it costs me less to make more money, I'm gonna do that on the business side. Now hip hop is more for me. The white folks made it the business. I felt it as the culture. Mm-hmm. So culturally, and because I love this shit, I want that shit to be top quality. But if this is the business for you, I can put this shit out myself via TuneCore.
The reason why I put it to the table when I wanted to have this because being somebody who creates is that in the creative space, it's a lot of ego, it's a lot of pride, but I feel like it's unvalidated, unjustified because the point that you all are made is that you have to have an audience first.
Yep.
And so...
Well, you got to start first to get your audience.
That's what I'm saying. So in order to have that start and to get that audience, I've always told people who came under my banner, let's err on the side of quality because we don't get a second chance at a first impression. So because we're trying to get started, because we're trying to establish an audience, and we're trying to build a foundation for people to have that demand for what we're coming with, let's put our best foot forward. Let's not put nothing out there that we will regret later, but I will be honest and say that I've had clashes because some people wanted to rush the process. Some people didn't appreciate producing and arranging the record. They just felt like.
Okay, but this is what I'm saying. When that record come on, though, right? So when the MP3 record, because once you put it out there, it's for the world to see. So if you rap, you competing with Jigga, Griselda, Mac Dre, whoever anybody press play on. So this is just me personally. When I'm riding and I got my shit going on my my playlist or whatever, when some Jay-Z come on, it'll have to be off American Gangster soundtrack. But when some Jay-Z come on, the quality is so up here, right? And then MC rapper A from Detroit come on, and I love this song more.
But that shit just ain't hitting. It ain't hitting in the whip.
So
the quality
if a nigga hear that, so if a nigga put his song, all you gotta do, man, is something.
That's what you value, though.
But
some niggas value. Yo, I'm ready out here in these streets, and this nigga talking that talk that I fuck with.
But they
I'm
really
listening to it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm listening to it.
That's
but
the
they don't
audiences.
value they music enough to say. If I'm in why I'm not in the club, because when this Rick Ross go in the club, my song come on, the whole city love my shit, but they got to turn my shit up 1,000 more notches just to barely hear it.
Hey,
that's what I'm saying.
Rock Bottom come on, we
Rock Bottom always had quality. Rock Bottom
East Side Cheddar Boys come on, we still in that bitch doing the thing.
And next, before we jump into that though, we got our other co-host in the building. Bro, say what up to the people.
What up, down? I ain't know I was a co-host.
Man.
Well, go ahead and introduce yourself too, bro, please. Cause
God,
they don't know.
I didn't.
Yeah, right. They don't know. Oh no, I'm saying introduce yourself though.
He knew he just under the influence and they remember. We had a whole team discussion about how this was supposed to go. But just to let y'all know, we want
for real though. He look like
Hey, I just came. I wasn't doing shit. I pulled up.
Come on, bro. Speak your piece, bro.
My name Chise, 3269, representing as always.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So my bro was joining the conversation with
Charles,
us.
I know where you at. I was in that same place on the episode a few weeks ago. It was beating my ass, man. I get it.
It's all good. It's family, man. So we was in the studio last night and it was impromptu.
Yeah.
He hit me with the same shit like, bro, it's New Year's Day. I'm like, let's get out the house and work.
Yeah.
We made something dope. But DetroitRap.com, the Underground Hip Hop Awards. And this is technically Underground Hip Hop Awards weekend of history past. So with all that we're talking about relevant to Detroit culture, how do you all feel about the Underground Hip Hop Awards just in hindsight 2020 looking back? And then with that, in terms of how you all feel about the Underground Hip Hop Awards, the Deciphered exhibit that happened at the DIA, that was also a moment in time that documented our history. Before that, we didn't have a piece of material, any book, anything that truly documented Detroit hip-hop to some culture. And just like we were just talking about with Detroit versus Everybody, people didn't make the original record. Just like Chise mentioned with the Friday Night Cypher on Big Sean, people didn't make the cut, but it's those pieces of content still documented a who's who at that time, just like the Decipher documented a who's who for the moment and in yesteryear. And what we tried to do with Underground Hip Hop Awards was also document what was happening on the underground scene. So in reflection of the just kind of touch on those things, and let me know you guys' thoughts. Thank you.
I really miss the Underground Hip Hop Awards, especially like when I look at this list, because I was on one of these albums on this list. Like I did drop a verse on the Dirty Old Men album, and I feel like
Okay.
It was a fire verse.
I feel like maybe that could have been in the running for something. But but when I look at an exhibit like Deciphered, like I said, I have young children. That's something that I could take my kids to and like not be like the old man like reminiscent. Like this when I saw like COI, like for me was like one of the first, more money, more like that song like resonated to me. I had older homies that put me on like Detroit Most Wanted, Awesome Dre. Like that shit resonated to me, and to see it all together along with bridging the new generation. You see niggas like Sino. I had my homeboy Mo Dirty in some of the pictures. Ro Spit, like Nick, people that are peers and even like niggas that are upcoming, like to mash all that together. Like, we talk about like the East Side, West Side divide, like that that was a true showing of history and unity all together. That's something that they can never take away from us. Like this is a unified front. This is Detroit history. No matter, like, the history will grow, it will change, it will evolve, but these pillars, like this means something. This means something for the city.
Museum, but my favorite was, I had that screen at the fucking
St. Andrews.
At St. Andrews. Yeah. That screen was
I'm
so
filling
dope.
the gaps on some of what y'all talking about. But I just want to hear y'all honest feedback, and I'll give y'all a little behind the scenes.
That screen, like, that shit was big. You feel what I'm saying? Go ahead. If they
that's
want more,
that's actually the only part I don't like about it. I don't think that it should be fan interaction with the votes, because I think that like that's why some of the people who nominated and stuff might look at it a certain way.
But if it's not fan interaction, I think that dilutes the process.
But we don't know nobody else. We don't know, like, the Grammys. You can vote if you're on the
numbers, though.
You on the Grammy committee. You vote. That's not the fans.
But that's different. The Grammys, I think, is a much larger scale of music industry professionals. When you talk about, like, say something like the Underground Hip Hop Awards, like, you can always argue, like, well, why does that nigga looked at as like a gatekeeper? Like, who the fuck is he?
We don't have to discuss nobody who's voting. We don't I don't think that the Underground Hip Hop Awards is obligated to tell nobody the process, because the process is not questioned anywhere else. So if you want to
direct contact,
but this is what I'm saying, though.
I can't speak to the head of the Grammys,
right? But you
I can walk up on DJ DDT,
but you shouldn't.
Saying?
But this is what I'm saying. Just because you can, don't mean you should. Like, so I think that the fan interaction with the voting is the problem to me, because, like, okay, let's say we on a voting committee, right? And we all vote that Coney Island was the best collaborative album of the year, right? And we got our criteria. And then we pose that to the fans, and they only voting. They don't have our criteria. They just voting out of whoever we put up
who
there,
who
they recognize. So they might not even recognize the Coney Island project.
Pin that the criteria part, because I'm gonna bring that up when I come back.
Just here on the scene, it's all about
popularity,
who
and
it's
it's not about
It's all about who you with. It's not about, like,
I think the Detroit screen is
it's about who you with. Because look, if you was to go to an open mic in LA, right? It's people who actually go to those open mics to just hear new talent.
Oh, you go to an open mic here, just niggas waiting to get on stage.
You go to an open mic here, you're actually going for a specific person. It wasn't like you was like, I'm gonna check out an open mic.
Yeah, like tonight, open mic wins.
You going to an open mic because your cousin or whoever who it is been telling you this for a week now.
Can I ask you a question?
So you going, huh? Yeah.
Do you think that's because they don't like the general talent in the city and they just like their cousin?
Yeah, I think
it's because that's who they know.
No, right, and if my cousin around,
why would I choose you over my family?
Exactly, that's what I'm about to say. If my cousin around and he dope,
even though you dope too,
I gotta look at it like, damn, cuz go get mad. So why Dame on? I gotta go to the bathroom.
Look,
but Dame my shit.
I done lost plenty competitions where the people who didn't clap for me or whatever, they came up to me at the end and said you still was better.
Yeah,
but I'm here with
and
my.
That's the same thing as voting. If you was
so
in
they didn't make noise for me, even though they thought I was better than they people.
Now
they
imagine being in that same competition. You don't know who judging.
Right.
So everybody could clap.
I think it's more balanced like that.
Right. So everybody could clap all they want, because now they just clapping off of talent, but they don't know that we've been sitting there judging the whole time.
Right.
You got a real chance. If whoever is the most popular, especially in the D, bro, it's a popularity contest. So if you see such and such name, if you see such a,
it is though.
If you see a name that you're familiar with, over 4 names that you never heard of, I'm going to go listen to the 4 names I never heard of. That's me. I know I'm in a small percentage of people who go do that. The normal, the average person, since we was talking average, is just go with the name they feel. That's why you have multiple award winners. That's why such and such can win 8 awards, because the fans voting. Once such and such fan is on there voting, every time they see their name, they voting.
The 2 artists' perspective on just how they felt about the awards and the deciphered exhibit.
All right. Well, as far as the awards, coming from an artist perspective, I appreciated it, because not only did it show me, what Detroit was made of, as far as, you got the underground, you got the backpackers, you got the trap. Everybody was in one spot. I was able to network and get close to like super producers, you know, like Hell of Us, and you know what I'm saying, we was all in the same spot, you know what I'm saying, whereas if I was somewhere else, they probably wouldn't give me a chance, you know what I'm saying. So I appreciated it just because they was just willing to celebrate Detroit, period, you know what I'm saying. And being underground, not being a super mainstream or none of that stuff, you know, it's like, dang, I finally got a fighting chance. I got a chance to my name to get next to Miss Corona or so-and-so's, and you know what I'm saying? But once they see your name up there, that's a win within itself to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to walk home with the hardware. If I'm in that top 5 or if I'm mentioned, that's a win, period, in Detroit. As an artist, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's a whole different, we look at things different, you know what I'm saying, as artists. We don't look at it like, I'm better than you, this and that. It's like, damn, just give me a chance. Just give me an honest listen. You know what I'm saying? I can give you something dope. But a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
But the Underground Hip Hop Awards made people pay attention and something. And then, I made the first time that I learned about the Underground Hip Hop Awards, it wasn't the first or the second year. It was like about the third year. And, I was like, dang, let me go on here to see what's going on over here. Let me pop up out of this circle. You know, I was in my own little zone over here, my peoples and shit. I'm like, damn, I need to get over there. You know what I'm saying? So one time I popped in on the first one. I'm like, damn, this actually dope. You know what I'm saying? This is St. Andrews. Shit, everybody here. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, this next year, okay. So then the next year came up, I'm like, shoot, I'm going ahead and run for it. You know what I'm saying? Just to see, you know what I'm saying, a little temperature check or whatever. I didn't make the top 5, but I made the 10. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, okay, let me work a little bit harder. They ain't doing to put fire on my ass as an artist. So I just worked a little bit harder, Next year, I made the top 5. I didn't win it. Detroit Shay won it, but I was on the ballot with Cash Doll, Detroit Shay, Miss Corona. You know what I'm saying? I was up there with some heavy hitters, and I'm like, okay, I could take that L because they working. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, next go round, oh, these motherfuckers about to have a problem. You know what I'm saying? So, and then also the Underground Hip Hop Awards gave me an opportunity to perform for the first time ever on St. Andrews stage, period. Yeah, because they did the Bar Raisers event where it was nobody knew to the end. It was like kind of like a little boomerang they threw in it because there was a lot of people that was supposed to show up that didn't show up. You know what I'm saying? That was supposed to be that, like, put on the flyers, like so and so's performing, and a lot of people was like, oh, that's just that. Yeah. That's just that. We ain't coming. But then it was like, I'm getting in this shit. I don't know what y'all talking about. They brought my man's, what's his name? The DJs, what's his name? Damn. Babe, what's his name? The DJs from Ohio, the Nerve DJs.
Shout out Johnny.
But they were the judges, like, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, they don't know me and I don't know them. But then when we got up on the stage, every person that got up there performed, and it was like, damn. And then at the end, he was like, well, y'all don't know, whoever did the best performance gonna get that last slot on the Underground Hip Hop Awards. I'm like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? I got excited. I'm like, damn, I need to get that. And I'm praying. I'm like, Lord, please. That's, you know, I was pulled up like the final 3, and then they did the vote. They let the people choose. It was like hand up, and I won that bitch. And the next day, I shut that bitch down, and I was just so excited. Like, dog, if it wasn't for the Underground Hip Hop Awards, first of all, I wouldn't have been able to touch the St. Andrews stage. Second of all, I wouldn't even have been talked about. So because I touched that stage, won that slot, it was like, who is this girl?
Yeah.
Who is this girl? Now I need to do some digging, and now I'm about to keep my eye on her. You know what I'm saying? Then it was like, okay, it was real to me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the next year, like the final year that they had, you know, they do allow a slot where you could write your people in. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be the top 5, and it'd be like, oh, if you feel like somebody is dope and deserve to get a write them in. You know what I'm saying? Get enough write-ins, you get 100 write-ins, you get on the ballot. Whatever. I was like, shoot, you fuck with me. I'm talking to my people on social media. Y'all fuck with me. Vote for me. Yeah. Won that bitch. You know what I'm saying? But I had went against the D Hall, the Queens. Went against, you know, it was a whole bunch of different people up there. And I was like, damn, I won. I'm talking about I went crazy. Titties almost flew out my dress, everything. Like, I almost broke my heels. I'm like, dog, I did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, shut up, child. But I swear to God, like, I lost my mind, bro. But it was like, as an artist, I'm very, very appreciative of those platforms. And I'm sad that we lost it because
well, first of all, Pete, that was very inspirational. Like, your story was, oh man. So I just want to let everybody know, listening, my experience was nothing like Pete. So I just want to just put that. I appreciate y'all though. You know, that's about as much I can say.
Chise is lying. He performed at the Underground Hip Hop Awards as well. Won a slot as well. Stop playing.
I won. What was that? The third or the fourth?
Don't matter. You won.
I think that was the fourth because that's when I really was getting up on you.
Yeah, I think it was the fourth.
Then we did the bar raiser.
They allowed me to perform because I had won the bar raiser. So that's why I say I appreciate that shit. Like, but it wasn't like P-Dot experience. Like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't have nobody checking for me when I came on the stage. And they told me to go upstairs, sit in the corner,
to go upstairs,
and,
get dressed.
You know, stay away from the stars.
That's right.
So just to address it, on behalf of myself, P, Mighty John, me personally, I'm with you. St. Andrews is where the Underground Hip Hop Awards live.
Yeah.
So just letting y'all a little bit behind the curtain, I was outvoted on the move to the museum, but I understood it business-wise. But I definitely was fighting because I'm like, that's when you say the term underground by itself, St. Andrews just feel like the underground.
It's the it.
Right.
It's the
The
it.
museum feel like, you know, we polished.
Corporate.
You know, and I didn't want that vibe. So that's just a little bit behind the scenes. But on some of the other things y'all said, we did feel like it was unappreciated. We did feel like we was basically overworking and being underpaid and under-recognized and all of the above. And then me personally, I was just tired of fighting with niggas, bro.
Yeah, because I just don't understand. Like,
yeah, we saw you catch a lot of heat.
like he's not voting. He's not the end all be all. And then on top of that, you niggas wouldn't run up on a white record exec who shelved you. So don't run up on a black man who took his time, money, resources, effort, connections to put on something for us.
Right.
This is
See,
for
that's
us.
the difference, though. It got weird at a certain point because it's like, this is Detroit, you know what I'm saying? And it's equal opportunity to get slid on. Final topic is, you know, our collective top 20 or 20 in Detroit. I gave these people and gentlemen and ladies almost 100 albums from 70 different artists. I do not expect that everyone has listened to every person on that list. I do not expect that everybody has had the time and attention and energy to gracefully critique everybody that's on that list because we all got real things going on. But I would like to try, if we can, which I'll keep track. We don't have to put it in any particular order, but I do want to at least try to pick at least 20 projects that we all collectively feel was a good representation of Detroit last year, just out of your personal listening pleasure. And I'm pretty sure between all of us, we can kind of be like,
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Pass that one through. But I don't want to try to get into too heavy of debate. So we got Lil Mike Indictment music. D-Rick Here and Now.
Yeah.
Bodie James, The Price of Tea in China.
Hey, man.
Courtney Bell, Poverty Stricken.
You preaching.
Big Sean, Detroit 2. Rio, the Young OG, Accidental Shit Talking.
Come on.
Royce the 5'9", The Allegory.
This a fire list.
Dusty McFly, Name Me Money.
I'm catching the spirit.
Patience, Colorblind. Todd Ferris, No Cosign, Just Cocaine 3. Babyface Ray, For You. 4-2 Doug, Young and Turnt 2. I Swear Vezo Robin Season 2.
Yeah.
Miss Coronavirus.
Cough.
Marv Wine, Sooner Than Later.
Yeah.
The Home Team, Chise and Doc. Club Shows of Coley High. Payroll, Spirit of Boss.
Appreciate y'all.
Sada Baby, Bartier Bounty 2. Elzai, 7 times down, 8 times up.
Cold list. That is cold.
Like the
that's
church say amen.
If
That's
you
something
can't-
for everybody.
That's what I say. If you can't
can't grab
appreciate
something off of
being,
that, yeah.
but just being in that, that's Detroit at its finest. You feel what I'm saying?
If you can't appreciate that list, you need to get banned from all restaurants because you petty as hell.
Banned from restaurants?
What Jay say?
That's like the most pettiest thing I could think of. Because they petty as hell if they don't like that list.
Everybody top list.
Like, nigga, you
can't respect
shouldn't
that.
be able to eat at
What was
Coney,
that nigga
Burger
called?
King, and none of that shit.
and
You
man,
definitely can't go to Coney Island.
Definitely should be banned from all Coney. Definitely.
You're banned from Coney Island.
Yeah, he did.
I'm gonna kick it off with the sign-offs. I will say for me, honorable mention though, I do want to shout out Dej Low, Celso too. I know what you went through, Dej. You had a big moment, and you had to get it shelved because of internal differences with your squad. Because the people weren't ready. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just proud that Dej finally dropped her debut album 6 years later in the making because she worked really hard on that. That Celso 2 fire. Peasy, keep your head up. That Ballin' Ain't Crime is fire. That's an honorable mention for me. Love that album. And those my honorable mentions, man. Be Scarb AKA real name no gimmicks. Follow me at Grind Life 313. This is Four Corners Podcast. Everybody do their
I
sign
thought you was about to say you got an album coming out.
Right.
Yeah, like top of the year bars coming. Nigga.
Just want to
let y'all
say,
know.
I
At the top.
want to send a shout out to everybody who's been working hard, who made a way through this pandemic, pushing out these solid projects. It wasn't easy for us. I know it wasn't easy for y'all, but we really appreciate y'all, and y'all dropped some solid shit. So, we salute y'all for that. My name is P. Dot. Y'all can follow me on Instagram at P.Music. And as that, it's the Four Corners.
I'm SJ.
I'm AJ.
And we the Connected Experience.
Hey.
What's your honorary?
My honorary GT, that shit was hard. But see, GT shit just came out a couple weeks ago. You feel what I'm saying? But my honorary was GT. That shit was hard. You feel what I'm saying? I don't know what the I don't know the name of it.
Rapper died, a
Yeah.
dollar tape, the tribute, and I'm the best rapper in Detroit.
It was the first one you mentioned.
The dollar tape?
Yeah.
Okay.
You feel what I'm saying? So that was, but that GT just came out, so I don't know if a lot of people got to press play on that.
All right. What's up? It's on you, Jay.
What up, though? It's Jay Johnson 313 on everything that matters. Follow Shop Talk Podcast on Instagram. When you see the blue and the black, you know where you at. Shop Talk Podcast Studio. Book some time. My honorary mention on there is gonna be Nolan the Ninja. Talk soon. We fuck with Nolan. He's a dope MC, and he raps better than a lot of people.
All right, it's your man Dame Gone Wild. Dame Gone Wild on IG and Clubhouse. It's Dame Gone Wild on Twitter. Just drop that I. If you at me, I'm going to talk wild right back to you and tell you something about your mama. My honorable mention was that Payroll and Peasy.
Yeah.
I mean, I really thought them niggas, that was a moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was big, in my opinion, for like, the Detroit rap scene. And then, like, Payroll, in my opinion, is, like, one of the most underrated MCs in the city.
I honorable mention Gov shit.
Oh, yeah.
Son of Southwest. I honorable mention that. And what other project on there that I heard and didn't say, man? I think it was one more I heard. I said Fat Father shit. And you said Patience.
I said Patience.
Okay.
A lot of shit on there. Though.
Now, I
Some
heard
clinic trips.
I heard singles, but I didn't hear these projects from Verdict and Young Hurt. But they always come with fire anyway. I think Verdict did like a two-step ballrooming song or something. Like something like that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He did something real creative. And, Hurt always dropping.
I want to hear Young Herc and Big Herc drop a father and son.
They did.
They did that.
They did. Bloodline.
I ain't
The
hear
album?
Yeah, Bloodline album.
Okay.
That shit came out in like 18, I think 18 or 17.
Yeah, it's a couple years old.
Okay, I might
Yeah,
have
it's a
to look
couple
for
years
that.
old. That shit was hot.
Yo, man, and
Appreciate it, though.
shout out to Shop Talk Podcast Studio for sponsoring the Four Corners Podcast, and we'll be back for more. Thank y'all.
Peace.
Peace.